Peeps, here with the Kova Cabal. We are here with the Kova Cabal. I know. I know. Sorry, Euros. Sorry, Euros, for the delay. My apologies. My apologies for the delay. I actually didn't get a chance to go to the gym because I had to take some boxes and ship them to Poland. So, as you know, there's always shit that comes up. Always shit that comes up. But we're here. Better late than never. Better late than never, guys. We're gonna plow through the wine pretty quick. Cool stuff though. The very end of um, we get the very end of Central Italy before we move into Tuscany. So let's check it out. So yeah, right. Stay on the wine. No, we got some cool ones today. So these are two Central Italian whites, and I have to be honest, I didn't even really know about these. I have to go follow someone. All right, I'm gonna go follow somebody. No, guys, I want to say something real quick about that 666. 666 is a hijacked number. Okay, so let's understand something. 666 isn't evil necessarily. It's been hijacked. Okay, because they have taken all sorts of power symbols and they've used them for themselves. So we got to take back 666, right? 369, powerful numbers. They've used it for dark magic purposes, but we can take it back. We're going to take it back. But so it's for these wines. All right, so if you recall last time, we did the two reds. We did red from Cesanese, right? And then we did Sagretino di Montefalco. Now, one thing we didn't have a chance to do was Torgiano, which is another area in Umbria that's famous for its white wines, specifically Grechetto, which I guess you could say is Greek Grechetto. Okay, but we don't have actually a Torgiano, but we have one from Colli actually not Pergolini, it's Martinani. Yeah, this one, right? Whatever. This Grecante right here. Okay, so we're gonna get some Grechetto from Umbria. So we get the white side of Umbria, and then we have a white from Marche, a very very underrated region of a very very underdeveloped region of Italy, known for the main city of Ancona. Um, this is the really famous one right here, guys. Verdicchio de Castelli di Jesi. I didn't get that, unfortunately, but I did get a Verdicchio from the area from Marche. So we're going to try it out. We're going to see what they're like. I actually have no idea. I've had Verdicchio before. I'm sure I've had Grechetto before, but, it's interesting. There's a lot of Italian whites. Everyone talks about the Italian reds. There's a lot of Italian whites. Ooh, look at this color difference. So Grechetto looking really light colored, and Verdicchio looking very very yellow. Salmon, we're going to be talking about some great stuff for you tonight. Don't worry, Salmon. We're going to be talking about some good stuff. You're going to feel great. So this is an old edition, guys, but it's the World Atlas of Wine. World Atlas of Wine. It's a great resource. If the two books I go to for everything are these two. This is an encyclopedia of wine, and this is a atlas. They're great together. Probably every 10 years or so, you might want to get a new one of the atlas because things have been changing, but not that much. I mean, maybe every 20 years if you could really stretch it. 20 years ago, though, the wine world was totally different. So probably every 20 years, you'd have to update it. So let's try these out so we can get into the COVID cabal. Ooh, this is rich flavor. A little bit of stinkiness, but also, wow. You got a lot of funk on this, almost like a mushroomy kind of thing. Fuck, that's good. That's good. That's really good. Now, one thing I forgot to mention is Verdicchio has very thick skin. And Verdicchio, what you guys will understand is that some wines can age a lot better than others, and that's especially true for white wines. The two main elements that are going to make a white wine good for aging is the level of acidity and sugar it has in it, and also the skins. So this one, Verdicchio, has very thick skins. I'm sure you can make orange wine with it. And to be honest, I don't know if they left some skin contact, because the smell I'm getting on here is a rich kind of smell you often get when there's a little bit of skin contact. Now this is an IGT, so they may have, and it wasn't I don't remember the price, but it wasn't like super cheap. It's probably mid-20s, and it was at a specialty store. So my guess is that this is like probably a little bit of an orange wine, which explains the color. But Verdicchio is really cool, and I would like to actually have a lot more Verdicchio, especially after trying this, because you can really have it age for a long period of time, and that's really cool. You get so much flavor out of that kind of wine. I'm really loving this. I mean, honestly, the nose is so good. I'll just give you guys a look at it, so if you guys can find it, it's really, this is a winner right here, definitely a winner. So let's try now the Grechetto. Ooh, this is really nice too. We got a couple winners today. This is a really incredible nose. Totally different. Very sweet, almost like a candy-like. Almost like candied peaches. Yeah, that's actually, and maybe like almost like a little bit of a creamsicle kind of thing. It's a little more delicate than the nose, but just a little bit. It's got like a peak to it. Really incredible stuff. Totally different style though. I'm gonna switch the order up, because the Grechetto, as you could probably tell from the color, the Grechetto is better to have first. So guys, just in case you guys want to check this one out, really good pairing tonight. I'm psyched. All right, so salmon therapy session. All right, salmon therapy session. Look, all right, guys, I want to talk about a couple things with these bets. Before we get into it, we got to talk about these bets. All right, so you know yours truly has put 230,000 in overall into markets. Okay, a little bit over 100,000 to predict it. A little less than 100,000 into Betfair, and about 25,000 into I guess Bet365 and Sportsbet, respectively. Okay, so what I've gotten so far is I've gotten 60K back from predicted. Okay, so I'm in the red, right? I'm in the red. That's a lot of money. I don't care. I'm going to tell you why I don't care. There's a couple of reasons why I don't care. The first of which is that, with the exception of some of these races in predicted where the Republican candidate conceded, we're going to get the money back. Okay, we're going to get the money back. Those bets, I'm probably not going to get the money back. Just because if they conceded it, and if Trump wasn't contesting it right now, it doesn't matter if he won it, and that we'll find he won it later on. Yeah, Biden bettors got paid. We're going to talk about all this stuff. Don't worry. The main returns I would be getting, of course, were in Betfair. So we're going to focus on Betfair. Predicted hasn't closed down everything. Predicted closed down a couple state races. They're going to have to honor them. I have to tell you guys something about this, all right? First off, with Predicted, and with all these things, when they're talking about the states, each of these states sent two slates of electors. Okay, they sent two slates of electors. This is very important. Okay, they sent two slates of electors. And so what does that mean? It means that they can't claim that a state had its electoral votes decided when there were two sets of electors sent. That means there are 7 states currently, and certainly 6. I mean, you can make an argument on New Mexico that New Mexico kind of surprised everybody by doing the same thing. And you could say, well, there was no contesting of it before. But from a bet perspective, when it comes to the 6 races in Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, Nevada, Arizona, Georgia, there are 2 slates of electors going, and the second slate of electors was sent by the state legislature, and the state legislature is the one that has constitutional authority to send the electors. Okay, so it doesn't matter what they did. It doesn't matter what they did because they're going to have to pay it. They don't have a legal basis to justify their decision. They don't have a legal basis to do it. They can't say we had the predicted thing. We assume this stuff. No, the GOP, the legislature, Senate, the legislature is GOP controlled. This came from the GOP legislature, and they sent their own electors. Now, it wasn't certified, but they sent their own electors. Salman, the legislature is controlled by the GOP, so the GOP Senate, but it was from the state legislatures. Okay, which is why it's able to work. The state legislature is able to do that. So now it's contested. It's officially a contested election. So whatever they did, it doesn't fucking matter because they don't have a leg to stand on legally. They can say the projected, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what was projected. Legally speaking, CNN has no authority to do this stuff. They can't do it. And this goes double for the case of Betfair. Because as we all know, Betfair was giving multiple contradictory evidence. They were contradicting themselves constantly. And people were on chats with them trying to confirm with me that you will be keeping this market open if there are legal challenges. And they all said yes. Okay. Now, you have to ask yourself a question here. There's a couple questions you have to ask yourself. So why would Betfair be saying that? Why would Betfair be telling everybody that they're going to be keeping these contracts open? And then suddenly, on the day of the Electoral College, the night of it, even within just like 2-3 hours after they had been still saying this stuff, they closed the markets. Why would they do that? Why would they do that? You have to think about this for a second. Why would they do it? Well, there's a couple reasons they might do it. But let's think about this from a business perspective. First, from a business perspective, why wouldn't you keep the markets open? Why wouldn't you keep the markets open? Because every single day, more money was going into the market. I mean, if you were thinking from a strictly business perspective, this was a gold mine. It was a gold mine. Because they could have kept that market open till Inauguration Day. In that market, I'm telling you, over the next month, it would have doubled probably. It would have at least gone up 50%. That would have been a $120 billion market by the inauguration. $120 billion market. It was, I think, about 80 billion when it closed. Okay? So financially, why would they do that? Because they're going to get profit. They get 5% of all profits. Actually, it makes it even bigger because they would certainly want Trump supporters. Sorry, I know what I'm doing here. I was looking at the 1.8. Sorry, excuse me. Yeah. What I meant to say was 2.2. Thank you for the correction. I meant 2.2 billion by the end. 2.2 billion is what I meant. I was looking at the last number, it would be 2.2 billion by inauguration. So why? Yes, Trump will be president by January 20th. So why would they do that? Especially when if Trump won, they would be making bank. Right? Financially speaking, it makes perfect sense that they would keep it open. So why didn't they keep it open? Really good question. Why didn't they keep it open? Well, we got a couple of bits of information here. The first is that guess what company that Betfair is a part of? It's part of a group of companies, right? They are both owned by one of the other companies in their sort of holding company package is Seidel. Okay, guys, remember Seidel? Do you remember Seidel was one of the parent companies of Dominion Voting Systems? Do you guys remember that? So Betfair is in the same group of companies as Seidel. They're all owned by the same people. So that's kind of interesting, isn't it? It's kind of interesting. What's also interesting is that from the response of the people in Betfair, it doesn't even seem to make any sense that they would close it so abruptly, because it almost seems like the customer service people didn't know what was going on. No one knew what was going on. So there are either two things going on here, and I think that they're both true. Frankly, I think they're both true. I think that this happened because financially it doesn't make any sense, and the response doesn't make any sense. So two things happened. First off, I bet you anything that Betfair had its own money on the Biden side, and here's why. This market was growing and growing and growing and growing and growing, but guess what? What were you making if you were a Biden supporter? You were making it was like 1.03 odds. Okay. And this is the thing you have to take into consideration. You don't think so, Salman? You don't think that they were putting their own money in there on the other side? How would you know? How would you know that they were doing that? Okay, your friend was on the other side, but think about this for a second. I mean, so your friend is one of them, but was the scale of this? I mean, there had to have been some Betfair money on the other side. There had to have been some Betfair money on the other side of this. Is my guess. My guess. Because there's no financial if you're going to give them a financial incentive, maybe it was China. Maybe it was China. Okay. Whatever. But it's the same thing because if Betfair's upper administration knows that and they're connected to China, then it's basically the same thing. We're talking semantics. We're talking semantics, basically, because we're basically saying that they were protecting their own kind of group. But there was a scheme going on here. There was a scheme to pull Trump people in, to put their money in, and then to close it. Because, sure, some people, maybe your friend was putting some money in. Maybe your friend was putting some money in. But the reality is that no one's making any money off of that. That's the funny thing. When you hear all these like Biden people who are trying to brag and everything, like, I'm taking my money from all the Trumpers. Like, what'd you get? You got like £5? You're going to go buy yourself a beer? Like, you put in £100, you get £3 back. It's not really like raking in the cash. So it's kind of hard to understand the big incentive here. It's kind of hard to understand the incentive for most people to be doing this stuff because you're not getting a lot out of it. I mean, we were getting like, I had a couple $1,000s in. I had close to. God, I had over $5,000 in at 34-1. I mean, that was going to net me over $100,000, right? It's crazy stuff. So, yeah, China is CCP. So look, that was going on, but I'm going to tell you the main thing that happened. Okay, I think Salman's point's valid. Maybe it was Chinese money, but that was known, and this will feed into the next thing, which is that they got the fucking call. They got the fucking call. Okay, they got the fucking call. Do you guys get it? They got called from someone up top and said, close the market. That's what happened. They got the call. Hey, Bill, close the market. Wait, but, we were supposed to keep it open. Close the market. Yes, sir. We'll close the market. That's what happened. That's what happened. There's no doubt about it. That's what happened. And I'm going to tell you why it happened. Okay, first off, yeah, they want to take our money because they fucking hate us. But it's more than that. They are part of perception management. Okay, because the betting markets are about the perception. And so if the betting markets all close on Trump, then it aids into the perception that Trump is losing. And we all saw it, guys. When did they close the markets? They closed the markets after the second sled of electors went, and the odds went from 30 all the way down to 21. And as they started to drop rapidly, free fall, they cut it off immediately. Just like that, they cut it. So we know it's a scam. We know it's a scam. It was always a risk of a scam. Okay, it was always a risk of a scam. We knew that. If you guys remember, about a week or so before a week before the third debate, I was like, I'm not going to put money in, and I was like, fuck it, I'm going to put money in. I was like, fuck it, I'm putting money in. But the reason I said I wasn't going to put money in is because I was like, I don't trust them. I don't trust them. And I'll say two things with this. Okay, the first is that it's okay because we're going to get our money back. They don't have a legal leg to stand on, and when Trump wins, we get it. They don't care about the money, guys. At this point, the money doesn't even fucking matter, really, that much. They're fighting for their lives. They're fighting. They're going to pay out Salman. Salman. They don't have any legal basis whatsoever to withhold the money. They don't. They don't. They're fucked. They're fucked. Their own terms contradict themselves. There have been people in the chats who have shown this. We have screenshots of customer service agents. There's no doubt we're getting our money when Trump wins. We have to wait till Trump wins, though. And we're going to have to push. But I also promise you that with the pressure that comes, they are not going to want to be, first off, one of the only betting companies who will not reimburse people. Yeah, they said that, but who gives a fuck? They said that at first, but now they've been starting to say in chats that they will. Okay, they're always going to put a hard line up. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Paddy Power has now admitted that they're gonna resettle. We're gonna have to put pressure on them. But the reality is that when all this shit comes out, and it will be coming out in the next 5 weeks or so, they're gonna pay it out. They're gonna pay it out. You do not want to be, first off, the only betting agency that doesn't pay out, and second off, you do not want to be the person who paid out for the fucking pedos. Okay, you do not want to be the company that's associated with not paying out and supporting an evil group who are all getting arrested. You don't want to be that company. You don't want to be that company, okay? Now, probably they don't really have much of a, of a future anyway, but they're going to do it. They're going to pay out. So don't worry about it. Don't worry about that. But here's the thing. Even if they didn't pay out, let's just say, even if they didn't pay out, let's just say that they get us on a technicality. Let's say it's a technicality, guys. Let's say, well, it's tough, but we had this certain stipulation, whatever. They just refuse. Okay. No, they're not going to go bankrupt. Salman, you just said yourself like 2 seconds ago that the CCP was pumping money into it. They are all connected with financially, and if you look at the holding company, they have this money. We're going to get the cash, or we're going to own part of Betfair, basically. We're going to own part of the Betfair, and we're going to get dividends permanently from Betfair as they, continue to make money. Don't just please do not stress about this, okay? Which is the point I'm getting to right here. Which is the point I'm getting to here. A week ago, I was starting to think to myself, I was like, am I going to get fucked with these bets? Am I going to get fucked with these bets? And I've been praying at night. I've been like, I really like, use me, be there for Trump, be there for my wife with her baby. Also, I would like these bets. Also, please have these bets work. And then it kind of hit me last week. I'm like, you know what? The fact that I'm even so like into this money is a little bit off alignment, and that my focus is it's a little too 3D, right? It's a little too 3D, and I have to sort of surrender a little bit with this. I have to surrender a little bit with this stuff, and I said, if this is something that has to happen, that's okay. I was like, that's okay, because guys, I can tell you this: in the next year, we're going to be doing so well. All of us here, we're going to be doing so well. We're so ahead of the curve that what's the big deal? At the end of the day, anyway, it sucks. Look, I know Salman's going to freak out right now, but Salman will be fucked. Salman, you're going to be fine. We gotta let go a little bit. We got to let go a little bit with this stuff. We just got to let go a little bit because it's going to work out. We are going to get our money back, okay? We're going to get our money back. But we also have to let go a little bit. We have to let go. Well, Salman, I hope, fingers crossed that they don't make it through the purge. We're going to be okay. And, the thing is, I have all these trolls, and they're like, oh, my God, Pat's life's ruined. Well, first off, it's not. It's not. I had to liquidate some investments, but it's something that I can't replace in a couple months. Money comes back. It's not the end of the world. Salman, you got to move to the U.S. So look, we're going to be okay. Don't stress about the bets. Now, well, I bet, so let me be technical here. I bet the amount that I had, pretty much close to the amount that I had in investments, which I would consider my life savings, okay? But the reality is this. since I put those bets in, we've been betting for a while now, right? We're now at almost 2 months of betting. Okay. So I have income comes in and my expenses are pretty low here. So chance of Trump winning is 100%. Okay. Don't ask these questions. Like everybody on here, if you're on here, you have to presume that Trump is winning. Okay. Because otherwise, Trump's winning. Trump's winning. There's not even a doubt about that. So first off, and just because people ask about this and I want to be transparent, I've already got 60K back. Okay. So take that 230, drop it down to 170. First off. Second off, I've had about 2 months of income. So that drops down further to about, I mean, it's basically going to be, especially because I don't have to pay all of it off immediately because it's on credit. I'm going to, all told, I'll have to liquidate probably 100, tops $120,000. Okay. So it's actually more like half of my savings. It's actually more like half my savings at the end of the day because of the time frame and more money coming in. So look, this is just not for you. I mean, just for my haters. Any haters come on here and they're thinking that my life's over. Sucks. Sorry, it's not over. Doesn't fucking matter to me that much. Um, and I know we're gonna get in the end. Yeah, Colty's gonna freak out about it. I probably make more money than Colty because he seems a lot more scared about money than I do. But who gives a fuck? But we're gonna do great at the end of the day. At the end of the day, we're gonna do great. Look at this. I see that Betfair declared Biden. Dude, look. Let's watch it no. Watch this at the end. Go back when we're done this Periscope. Watch the whole thing. We just did all this entire thing. I got the 60 back just as last thing on the betting. I got the 60 back because I bet on multiple races. Okay. So I bet on, margin of victory in Iowa, margin of victory in Ohio, winning Iowa, that kind of shit. All these various congressional races, which all went to Trump. So all that stuff brought in money. So I diversified the portfolio, so to speak. All right, so let's get into the other parts of the COVID cabal. But I think this was relevant because, oh no, okay, good. I had the gray screen of death for a second there on my computer. But I think it's relevant because we have to see, there's a lot of shit going on with this betting stuff that was sketchy. And I think it's important that we talked about it, not just because I know a lot of you guys have been betting, but also just so that we see the underbelly. Right? So we see the underbelly of this stuff. So let's talk about some of the things that have been going on. Okay, so we have the second slates of electors. So what does that mean? We have the second slate of electors. What does it mean? Well, it means that we have contested elections in 7 states, which means that these electors need to be figured out. We need to be figured out. We need to figure out what happened in these states. Why are there 2 slates of electors? Which means there's going to be an investigation. That's what it means, guys. There is going to be an investigation. That's the situation. That's where the stuff is going. That is where it is going. And you know who has to investigate it? Supreme Court. It's going to have to take it up. Now, I told you guys on Sunday that there was a lot of back channeling, that the Supreme Court had basically told Trump that he needed to. I'm going to talk about the Gmail outages that they'd kind of passed on, saying, "Hey, look, we'd love to take it up, but we can't under these circumstances." Also, there is a trap in here, and I don't want to get too technical with this on the legal side of things, but suffice to say that by having that case go forward and them saying that they didn't have standing because there had been no injury, that now they can't deny standing based on personal injury. Okay, so you guys understand, and this is what that guy, Pete Grimm or whatever, said, that it was like a minesweeper, that lawsuit went through and blew up any potential legal objections and also set precedent. Okay? So now Supreme Court will deal with it most likely later on. And also it's going to go to the shit on January 6th and all that kind of chaos. But now that has to happen. It has to happen. And they're trying to tell you that none of this shit happened, but it's actually like they're trying to say Biden won. Now it's over. It's completely over. And it's not over. It's not over at all. It's not over at all. Competing slates of electors. It's going to go to the Supreme Court, and we're going to get discovery. Now, what else has been happening? We've had in Arizona, we've had the Dominion servers seized. We had for subpoena. We've had now a signature audit in Georgia, and we have in Michigan, all the stuff from the Michigan case coming out about Dominion. So we are completely in an excellent position, guys. They're in an excellent fucking position. Excellent position. And I just can't. I'm so tired of it. I have to say, I have love because trolls, whatever. Fuck those people. Fuck the negative people. The people who are so retarded, who just keep saying over and over again. I mean, literally, so fucking retarded, guys, that they keep saying there was no fraud. Just give me some evidence of fraud. You have to show evidence of fraud. It's like a short circuit. Like it would be one thing if they said, yeah, there was fraud. Okay. Yeah, there was fraud. Salman, I'll pray for you, Salman. Don't worry. They'll say, yeah, if they said, yeah, there was fraud. Okay. And, it is pretty substantial. And, there was some stuff, but I don't think it was enough to turn over the election. We can check it out. But I don't think Trump won. That's okay. I mean, I think that you're still blind, but you're not like fucked up. You're not in like crazy dissonance. I don't think that I don't think you're informed very well, but you're not in like crazy dissonance. But to actually be at this point saying there is zero fraud, like you just have to, you're not in reality whatsoever. And this is the thing that we have to constantly deal with these people. They say like, you're crazy, you're losing it. It's like, well, I know more information than you do. I know more information than you do. Your argument is to tell me that information that I know doesn't exist. So you're not really a credible person to talk to, which is why, guys, at this point in the game, we're really done with the conversations. It's just block, mute, hang up the phone. Don't even fucking talk to them. Don't even fucking talk to them because you're not going to persuade them. They are in no state of mind to receive any information. Okay, they're in no state of mind. Now, the neutral people, they're people, a lot of them like Trump, but they're in the state of fear consciousness. Which, guys, if you haven't watched it, watch my interview conversation with Jay Campbell because we talk all about fear consciousness. It's great, and Jay's fucking elite, so it's an honor to be on the show. But Jesus Christ, I mean, how on earth can you guys got to snap out of this fucking fear? You're in the neutral position. You got to snap. Like maybe it's your choice and you can do it, but like I'm not gonna block you. I might mute you. I'm just fucking tired of listening to it. I'm fucking tired of listening to it. Stop spazzing out, please. For fuck's sake, stop spazzing out. It's like you guys spaz out when we're like on the verge of victory. Like, please accept that you have been programmed to be demoralized all the time. I don't think that I have not seen any evidence. I've not seen any proof that Ron Raffensperger is brother Brad Raffensperger. So look, just chill. Just fucking chill, okay? Fucking chill. Please stop listening to the media. Just stop doing it. Stop doing it. Because they just make you afraid. They just make you demoralized every single time. Every time you just feel demoralized. Now, look, I have to say, guys, I do think it's a little bit fitting that Periscope is done March 31st because I think COVID Cabal is probably done by then, too. I think we're probably done. No need to continue, right? No need to continue. The drama will be over. We're going to have a year of drama by that point. I mean, I think I started COVID Cabal in second, third week of March, right? Yep. Yeah, the negativity is just not. Well, I'm not leaving. But Periscope's done. I mean, maybe I'll archive these things or whatever. I don't know. Who knows what's going to happen in the future? But we are not, we're not going to need the weekly or even bi-weekly periscopes. We're not going to need it. We're not going to need it. So I know there were about 40 of us in the OG periscopes. I mean, there was a good crew. There was a good crew. We had a really good team here. So I think it's kind of fitting. This platform is gonna die, and we'll move on to the next thing. But look, so what else did we have here? I want to talk about a couple other things here. Holy fuck! I had a dream about this. Now I'm gonna miss it. Wait. Let me. I gotta try to show you guys this if it's coming by. Oh no! I had a dream about this the other night. I don't know if you can see it. This is like the fire department. Guys, this is the fire department. Every year they come by and they give like candy canes. They dress up the fire trucks and they go by. I had a dream the other night that they came by and I missed it. And I had to like dress up and try to sneak in shit. Sorry, I had to see it. Even just for a moment, I had to see it. Okay. So let's talk about some of the big things that are coming down the line. Okay. We had the last big piece of news. Two things. We had Julian Assange pardoned. And that's going to mean something very, very big. That's going to mean something very, very big. And I'm not going to tell you guys exactly what it means because I don't know. But we know that the timing is very significant, and I bet it means Assange coming forward with a bunch of shit. I bet it means Assange coming forward with a bunch of shit. No, I think that the Assange pardon was proven true. The WikiLeaks dump was not. But I thought the Assange pardon was true. If that's not true, that's not true. That was fake. That was fake. I'm glad you like Manly P. Hall. All right. Well, look, I apologize if I'm spreading disinformation here. I had heard from multiple people, and I had seen multiple places on Twitter about Assange being pardoned. All right, so that was fake. So axe that fake, because I know the WikiLeaks thing that came out later on. They're like new WikiLeaks dump, and I posted it for like 2 minutes, and I was like, no, wait, this is all old shit. So got rid of that. All right. So we'll see about that. So no Assange pardon. That was fake. All right. So maybe it'll happen. Maybe it'll happen, but that's fake. For now, it's fake. All right. But what isn't fake, okay? What isn't fake is the Seth Rich laptop. And what isn't fake is that we have Bill Barr is leaving, okay? Bill Barr's leaving, and he's being followed by a new acting attorney general. Chris Christie, you remember the Chris Christie embracing Obama? Chris Christie's corrupt. He's corrupt. Look, I think in the grand scheme of things, no big deal. But time for some traffic problems in Fort Lee. When he basically created a massive traffic situation to punish the mayor of Fort Lee. I mean, he's a thug. He's a fat fuck who would sit on the beach when he closed the beaches. Look, I'm sorry. As much as I was happy to have a Republican governor of New Jersey, because the Democrats really fuck up the state, it just doesn't even, like, he sort of deserved all the shit he got at the end of the day. I mean, yeah, the left is hypocritical, but it's the same thing with Christie. I mean, he shut down the beaches, and then he was on the beach. He's on the beach, he shut down. I mean, it's the same kind of shit we have today with, like, Newsom going out to the French Laundry with his friends after he shuts down everybody else going to restaurants. Like, I don't give a fuck. And we know that there's some other stuff going on there. So it's not a surprise. It's not a surprise with Mitch. Now, I don't know if there's some sort of ruse here, but I don't think so. We we know that there were some back-channeled rumors about Biden trying to go to Mitch for a deal because he trusted Mitch because Mitch and him had been working together. Guys, what was the plan? What was the plan? The plan was Trump loses the presidency, Democrats keep the House, and Republicans keep the Senate. That was the plan for the New World Order. Okay, so Mitch McConnell was going to benefit from being a part of it, which is why they had this whole thing with Loeffler and Purdue and Georgia. They fucked up everything. It was supposed to be a lot cleaner. They fucked it all up. And so now they have this difficult situation. But Mitch is, no, he was, you know, I've been trying to say this, guys. It's like 50% minimum, more like 2/3 of the GOP are just complete swamp creatures. It's literally 2/3 of the GOP is swamp creatures, and 90% of the Democratic Party are swamp creatures. Like overwhelming number of swamp creatures we're looking at here. We're looking at 75% of the federal, at least, political establishment is completely corrupt. And I want to emphasize this. I get it. It's shorthand, but we have to stop thinking about this as left and right. I mean, the left and the right are all going down. It's corruption. It's about corruption. It's about low vibration. It is about these evil groups. That's what it's about. That's what it's about. They've been trying to subvert the country, and they've been playing two sides against each other. The Republican Party didn't just become clean because Trump got in it. He brought better energy to it, and I think it was a little less corrupted because they were on the losing team. Yeah, I would be happy to get rid of the Republican Party. Let's get rid of both of the names. Let's start something new. Let's get a new label. Patriot Party is great. Let's do a single party, Patriot Party, and it can split later on. The whole thing with Solar Winds is very interesting because we know that they're connected to Dominion, and that when they hacked into Solar Winds, that they were hacking into Dominion. Okay, so we know that, and so the question is, who hacked it? The question is, who hacked it? 1221. Hey, I just thought about this. Maybe that's Mirror, right? Remember they kept talking about Mirror and Q? Maybe that's Mirror. 1221. Salmon Party is pretty good. Salmon, I thought the IRA was the Salmon Party. Just it goes by a different name. So, look, I want to say this about Biden. You guys know my whole history thing with sorry, not Biden, with Putin. Putin broke Russia away from the cabal. But Russia's complicated because most of Russia's elite has been educated in the West. Okay? So it's not appropriate to think of Russia as being outside of the cabal. There are many people in the cabal that have a big issue with Russia, but Russia has not opted out of the New World Order. They've opted out of a subservient role in it. And frankly, I think Russia plays both sides. Russia has an enormous amount of economic and cultural ties with Europe, which is cabal dominated. So I think that we need to understand that Russia is not like, there's a lot of tradcons and stuff who see that, Putin builds a cathedral and they're like, oh, Putin's, huge sort of, respecter of the Western order and he's saving the West. And that's all propaganda. It's all fucking propaganda. Putin has pushed back against the eminent forces in the cabal, no question about that. But he's not completely outside of it. The whole Uranium One stuff, I mean, there's plenty of instances of deals between Russia and between Clinton and between these things. So look, let's not put Russia on a pedestal. I think that you are fucking stupid if you put Russia on a pedestal. I've defended Russia from a relative perspective. From a relative perspective, I've defended Russia. I would much prefer Russia than China, and Russia is not this great evil place compared to anything else. But Russia is not going to save America. It's not going to happen. Okay. Russia right now is putting out all these things. They're talking about the breakup of the United States. I mean, that's Russian propaganda. Russia wants the United States to break up. So they sent out this kind of, predictive programming where they try to tell people that the United States isn't going to make it. U.S. has to break up because that's obviously in their interest to see the U.S. break up. So the Dominion CEO lied because the Dominion CEO, they have nothing else to do. They already know that they're caught. So all they can do is basically say this didn't happen. They know they're going to jail anyway. They know they're going to jail. Yeah, that's been kind of proven. That was on a BAT podcast. That's all fake shit. That's from a political scientist who basically just makes up shit for attention. And he's actually talked about how he makes up shit for attention. So it's not true. But they throw it in the Western media because people like to jerk off to it, to think about it. It's not happening at all. Maybe it'll happen, but not for the reasons mentioned. Maybe it happens because everything changes, but personally, I don't see any evidence of it happening. It sounds like a jerk yourself off article. So the big thing here, though, we have Barr leaving. Okay, and guys, if you're not following Dan Scavino, I don't know who Patrick Burns is. If you're not following Dan Scavino, yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter what the Dominion CEO said because we know that they can be hacked. We know all this stuff, so they're gonna lie because now all the eyes are on them. They have to lie. Oh, the overstock thing. Yeah. I mean, look, that's true, but don't get distracted with that story. That's a pretty minor story, okay? Because that was really about internecine things with the cabal. And let me make a point here is that people ask, well, why do you have all these parts of the cabal that are working against each other? Well, ask yourself this question. Do criminals get along very well with each other? Do criminals get along with each other? Not usually. Criminals will cooperate on a crime, but you've seen plenty of movies and you see how very often that one criminal double crosses the other and they kill the other one, right? So when we talk about the cabal, we talk about a group that are all infested with demons and they all have power fantasies and they all want to control things, but they also, they'll negotiate with each other over domains of power, but they also try to take from each other. They're not when you're low vibration like that. Yeah, Bloods versus Crypt. These people are not like all on the same side in the sense that if one of them gets weak, they'll kill him. They'll kill him and take all their domain. That's how it works. It's not a high vibration thing where you support each other and you're all on the same team. And no, it doesn't work that way. So this whole thing with Overstock is just, I think it's a distraction because who fucking cares? Like, oh, Obama, this person was bribed to get dirt on Clinton for Obama to enact his plan. Who gives a fuck? Yeah, we always knew that Obama and Clinton were different factions of the same bigger group. Like it's a distraction for us. Maybe for the left it's good for some disclosure to understand internecine stuff. Maybe it's helpful, but as far as we're concerned, who cares? Barr, however, Barr seems to have set things up. Now, I've seen some images that people are claiming was Barr being arrested. I don't know about this stuff. I don't know. But it seems to me that we're in a good position. Q talked about 2 years ago, okay? 2 years ago, Donahue. Okay, Donahue, 82nd Airborne. He prosecuted the NXIVM. Is that right? NXIVM? I wrote it down here. I always get the acronym wrong. The NXIVM quote. NVXIM quote. Cult, rather. And he's been mentioned by Trump before, and he's deputy attorney general coming in. We have the acting attorney general coming in. So what we're looking at here, acting people, remember we have acting Secretary of Defense Chris Miller, acting secretaries of defense, state, whatever, can do crazy shit because they are accountable to nobody. In the sense that they're not accountable to public opinion. They weren't confirmed. They can go in and do a bunch of damage. So we're going to see shit drop. We're going to see shit drop. Barr leaving. I don't know if Barr's coming back. You know, there's a lot of things about Barr's father, Donald Barr, being connected to Epstein. I don't know if Barr was a patriot or not. I don't know if he was. I can tell you this much about Barr. Barr may have come from Cabal circles. Oh, Nexium. Okay, cool. That's how you say it. Barr flipped. I can tell you this much. Barr flipped. Okay, Barr flipped. Now, I don't think that Barr is, you know, the best of the best, but Barr flipped and Barr did what he had to do. I think he did what he had to do because Trump would have been a lot more scathing to him. I think he would have been more scathing. I don't know, guys. It doesn't fucking matter. What matters is that we have an acting attorney general coming in who is gonna fucking take some heads down. He's gonna take some heads down. What we know is what's coming. What we know is we're making Christmas great again, guys. Barr steps down on the 23rd, and Christmas Eve is now a national holiday. So we know we're making Christmas great again. That's what we know. All right? That's what we fucking know. So, the last thing I want to talk about here, I have a lot of random shit here. It doesn't really matter that much. There's so much stuff going on, guys. There's so much stuff going on. But the one thing I want to say, I could take a couple questions here, but I want to make a point about what's coming. Okay, so we have been on the defensive. That's not the right way to put it. We haven't been on the defensive, but we have had to deal with progress being reading between the lines. Okay, we've had to deal with understanding the progression of events by discernment. Right? We haven't had the satisfaction we've been waiting for. And a lot of us have been waiting for 5 years for it. We've been very, very patient. Okay? We do not have to be patient anymore. Not much longer. Not much longer. All right? Very soon, we're going to see things flip. We're going to see it flip. And I think, you have DNI releases its report on the 18th. And if we had any doubts whatsoever about the DNI director, we can't have him now because he was with Trump at the Army-Navy game. They've been together. It's dropping, guys. It's dropping. And we're really close to it. We're really close. I mean, within the week. We're talking about within the week. Yeah, Adams is positioning himself to have plausible deniability no matter what happens. I mean, Adams has been overall pretty good, but look, he wants to try to survive whatever happens. I don't give a fuck about surviving whatever happens. I don't give a fuck. I didn't come here to compromise. Fire trucks now on the street behind us, by the way. No, guys, I didn't come here to compromise. I didn't come to this earth in this lifetime to compromise. I came here with many, many others to fight for the end of this fucking bullshit. That's what we're here for. I don't want to try to compromise with the Biden regime. You will have to fucking kill me. You will have to kill me. That's the reality. You're going to have to kill me because I'm not going to cooperate with it. And they can't do anything to me. They can't do anything to me. You guys get that? They can't because I don't consent. What are they going to do? They're going to kill me? They can't trap me. I refuse to be in their matrix of control. So Scott Adams can be, playing both sides because he doesn't believe in anything besides for the simulation, which is actually a reptilian simulation. He's like half right. So we're fine. We're going to win. But there's no compromising here. We win. We just win. That's it. And it's about fighting. And guys, when it comes to the bets, right? When it comes to the bets, we have to be like Trump. That's it. You know, I have to say about us is that we were trying to win a little bit of cash in a 3D way, right? 3D 4D way, right? There's a little bit of a trap there. There's a little bit of a trap. And so much of this stuff is just surrendering. It's just surrendering more and more and more into where we have to be, how we have to act, the way we have to think about things, the way we have to think about money. And a lot of this is disengaging. I mean, we're in the fight, but we're also disengaging from the fight because we know we're winning. Yeah, exactly. Enjoy the show. Like, we're not giving up, but yet we're not polarizing. There's no reason to. There are some people who are like, we gotta do everything we fucking can to stop them. We gotta do all this stuff. We gotta, you know, like they're gonna kill us all. We have to fight them. It's like, no, we don't have to do that. They don't have that power. Stop giving them that power. They don't have that power over us. They just don't. They don't have it. So we are about to start to see. I think Bannon is high consciousness, but he's not in on the stuff. I mean, guys, Q is. We've been speculating for a while. We talked about Austin Steinbart. I don't know what the fuck that guy's doing these days. I don't know what the fuck he's doing these days. But Q's DIA. It's DIA. It's been there to seed information through the public. And it's also been there to spread disinformation for the cabal, who are trying to figure these things out. So, it's all going to come out as true. I mean, it's already been coming out as true. People keep saying, where's the proof? Where's the proof? Where's the proof? Just wait a little longer. Just wait a little longer. Guys, there will be a presidential speech this week. Within the week, there's going to be a presidential speech. There's no doubt about it. I will be incredibly surprised if there's no presidential speech. Okay? Everything has been more or less, we get details wrong, but in terms of trajectory, everything's been going the correct direction. It's been going the correct direction. And we have that DNI report out by the 18th. Now, I don't know if Biden's going to concede by the 21st, as I predicted. Maybe it's going to be a little bit. It's probably going to be longer. Actually, we know it's going to be longer. It'll be within a month of that, though. He's going to concede by the inauguration. That's for sure. Now, the last thing I want to say is that we are going to be on the ascendant with all the criminal shit coming out. And we're going to have a pretty good week or two. Okay? Majestic actually said the 18th. Majestic's not around anymore, though. We have on the 6th, on Epiphany, we have when the certification of the electoral votes happens. And that is really the moment, the certification of the electoral votes. That's really I'm not saying it's even done then, but I'm saying I don't really understand the full legal situation that occurs after that, because that's like, as far as I get the final legal deadline. Majestic is on Parler. Okay, I'll check that out. I don't really like Parler. I have an account on Gab from 2016. I don't use it except for a couple of accounts I follow that got banned from Twitter. But look, here's the final thing. Paul Publisher said he hoped that. He did not say that he did. Okay? He did not say that it was going to happen. Paul is looking at the stars, and he's looking at the energy. And look, I probably, if anybody got that wrong, it was me. Because I wanted it to be done. Because Salman, like you, I wanted it to be on my own time frame. I wanted it to end. I wanted it to end because I wanted the bets fucking in. No, Trump should not announce concession speech. Absolutely not. Trump should not announce concession speech because that's all anyone will talk about is Trump concedes. So Trump should never say. Trump should never do that. Oh, you mean like he would? Yeah, don't even use that as a pretense because they'll still say it. Even if he doesn't say anything about concession. Never, 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 never. Don't do that. Don't do that. Very bad framing. But look, what I want to say to you guys is that the next 2 weeks we're going to get a lot of really good stuff, and we're going to start to feel the energy on the overt level flip. Okay, probably from the 18th or so onward, it's going to flip. I'm talking about bets in the beginning of this thing. Okay, you can check the beginning of the Periscope. But I have to say this: I do not believe for a second that we're out of the woods. There is going to be some very, very big surprise on January 6th. Okay. Yeah, and I want to say this. Adam is completely correct that the energy is actually healing. And Salmon, I love you, brother, but you got to tap into this stuff because when I found out about this bet stuff last night, I actually felt ridiculously at peace, which was bizarre. But I felt at peace. I was like, you know what? It's all right. Whatever. I mean, I'm not giving up, but it's just kind of like, whatever. Like I'm not stressed about it. I'm not stressing about it. I was like, no, look, I had been like that prior, and I was run down earlier yesterday, but I'm fine. As of last night and onward, I'm fine. When it came in, it was almost like a catalyst to feel fine because it was like, you know what? Let's disengage a little bit from all this shit. Let's just disengage a little bit from it. Let's disengage from all the details. All right? You get over it, right? You get over it. Money is not that big of a deal. I mean, we were going to get the money back, but it's also not that big of a deal. It's like you have to hold the two things at the same time. Like, yeah, all that money is going to come to us, and who cares? And you hold the same two things together at the same time, and that's how you can process it. You hold these levels of consciousness together because you can see on the 5D level money doesn't matter. Then you see on the lower level, it's like, but logically we will receive it, and so it's okay. So, but I want you guys to know that on January 6th, around there, there's a lot of stuff about how this goes to Pence at the end. If we have the 12th Amendment and Pence has to invalidate the votes, or if Pence invalidates them, then it goes to 12th Amendment and we win. Or if Pence accepts Republican electors, then we win. But guys, I don't think it's going to be that simple. And I'll say this: I don't have a really strong opinion on this stuff. But there's been a segment of Q that's been saying that Pence has been a bad guy for a very long time. Okay? There's a segment of Q that said that, and others that have said that Pence is a pedo. Now, I personally have not seen any evidence to this. I haven't seen any evidence to this. They have mentioned that, in the same way that if you look at the two Bidens, you can see very different Bidens, and maybe you can see different Pences. There's been stuff about how there was a coup attempt, and then that's when the Bidens changed. There was all sorts of stuff with a plane, Air Force Two, and its flight tracking number changed. And then there was stuff about Paul Ryan was supposed to be getting Trump's nomination in the primary, and that didn't occur. Okay. Now, the point here is that you just saw Mitch McConnell, who everybody thought, Mitch McConnell was putting through all of these. How do I put this? He's putting through all the judges, right? He's putting through all the judges. So that's why people are so upset about Mitch McConnell. They forget, that his wife was connected to China. She was Taiwanese, and she's connected to like Chinese shipping companies. I retweeted a thread on this. You can check it out. It's been known for a while though that he's not. And so when we get to that moment in January, okay, where Pence actually has the power I just want people to be prepared for a surprise. Okay. Everybody's thinking that, oh, well, Pence has got it. Let's just be prepared for a surprise here because this is a deconstruction of everything, first off. And second off, I don't really know what to say about. No one got to Mitch. Mitch has been compromised before. Trump got to Mitch and uncompromised him, you could say. But Mitch has always been compromised. But the big thing here is that what are we going to see happen? What are we going to see occur? There's a lot of people in Q who have said that Q, they've been talking about JFK Jr. And there's some psychic who I don't really find to be particularly credible, find her to be a little bit of a grifter. But she's talked about JFK Jr. becoming vice president. And it was always like, well, how the fuck does JFK Jr. become vice president? Because how the fuck is that going to happen with Pence's vice president? And they're not going to take him off the ticket. So how does it happen? And so what occurs, right? What occurs here? You could say that maybe what's about to occur is that Pence gets put in this position, he does this stuff, and then he gets outed, then he gets removed, and then Trump appoints JFK Jr. as part of the reveal. Look, guys, personally, hold it very lightly. Hold that stuff very lightly. But the fact that Pence is going to be put in a position of power, JFK Jr., okay, not JFK. I'm not buying it either necessarily, but I will tell you this. I think we are going to see pretty much everybody betray Trump by the end. I think we are going to see pretty much everybody betray Trump by the end. I think that we're going to see that. It's going to be him against the world. And I think that when Pence is in a position when he can, it's not going to be easy. What I want you guys to do is learn from my mistakes here, okay? Learn from my mistakes. We can't think of this as going to be easy. We have to think, when they say January 20th, we have to really think it's going to be fucking January 20th. When they emphasize January 20th is the only constitutional date, we have to be prepared now for January 20th. We can't say, okay, well, it's not December 14th. It's January 6th. January 6th is going to be a fucking mess. Okay, it's going to be a mess. And we're going to see how it plays out. We're going to see how it plays out. But I think we're going to have a twist here. And I can just tell you, from my intuition, something is a little bit not right about Pence having so much power in who becomes president. I'm just telling you that. Something my intuition says it's a little bit not clean. I'm not questioning myself, but I'm something about this. I'm just saying we just need to be prepared for what happens. Okay, we're gonna have a good 2 weeks of a lot of drops, but they're not giving up without a fight. They're not giving up without a fight. They're gonna throw every single last asset at us, and they keep these people under deep cover, deep cover. Okay, so look, that's what I got, guys. That's what I got tonight. We'll see what happens this week. All right. Last thing before we go. All right. I told you guys about the outages, all right? They're either hackings from white hats or they're preparations for the internet going down. Preparation for the internet going down. That's pretty much it. YouTube going down, Gmail going down. They're either being hacked and shut down, or they are either I don't know exactly. I don't know exactly, but I know that there are signals of things, and there's a lot of indications that the internet will go down. Power grid will go down. I'm happy I'm not going to be in New York. Thank my future daughter for that. So we'll see. We'll see. That seems likely though. Um, so yeah, guys, Trump is going to be sworn in on January 20th. There's no doubt about it. Nothing can prevent it at this point. You have to look at this stuff as a chess game, okay? If you are an observer who doesn't understand chess and you're watching a chess game and you see two players going ferociously at it and you see pieces being taken here and there, you might think for a long time that the game is a tie or that you don't know who's going to win. But the good chess players know, they know where it's going. They know where it's going. And the reality is that Trump only loses if he makes the wrong move. And because of quantum technology, etc., they're not making the wrong move. They're not. We are winning. And there's no way that they can stop us from winning. There's no way they can stop us from winning. So remember that. I'll see you next time.